Hi everybody, thanks for pressing play today. And thanks for following me on Instagram and Facebook. Don't forget, I also have a YouTube channel, and you can find that at BevCooks0726. Today we're baking Aunt Marilyn's chocolate chip cookies. Marilyn was married to Al Sturts and the mother of Ellen, Harry, and Paul, and a much beloved aunt. Among her many accomplishments, one of them was that she made delicious chocolate chip cookies. Now, Don happens to be out of the country currently. He's golfing in Ireland, but he did have a few thoughts that he wanted to share with everyone regarding Aunt Marilyn and the chocolate chip cookies. So, Don, what do you remember about Aunt Marilyn and her chocolate chip cookies?
I remember on Sundays piling into the car, the five of us, and heading up to New City. And back then, New City was a new city. And I have two very distinct memories of going to New City to visit the Sturtses. One was going tobogganing in the winter. That was fun. And the other were Aunt Marilyn's chocolate chip cookies, which were different than anything we ever had. They were thin, they were crispy. Aunt Marilyn always kept them in a metal tin with wax paper between them. I remember that distinctly. They were really a special treat for us.
So, as he said, it is a very thin, crisp cookie. And there are a couple of ways to achieve that. There's no need to chill the dough before you bake them, because you do want them to spread and become a thin cookie. Now, I've been told to remove them almost immediately from the baking sheet so that they don't stick. And that's true if you don't use parchment paper, but I almost always do use parchment paper, and that way nothing sticks, and you have the added benefit of letting the cookie cool on the cookie sheet itself, and that also helps with the crisping of it. So the fun thing about this recipe, or one of the fun things about it, I should say, is that all you need is a fork and a bowl. This is a hand-mixed cookie dough, and it's done in a small batch. I'm lucky if I can get 24 cookies from it. I usually come in somewhere between 18 and 22, but because it's so easy to make and all the ingredients are at room temperature while you're mixing, they're wonderful to mix up and have fresh cookies whenever you want them. So we're going to start with 1 stick of unsalted butter, and to that I'm going to mix in 1/2 cup of white sugar and 3/4 of a cup of dark brown sugar. After you have the butter and sugar mixed, you would just follow your typical sequence of mixing a cookie batter. So I'll be adding 1 large egg at room temperature and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract next. And now that the egg and the vanilla extract have been mixed thoroughly into the batter, I'm going to add the dry ingredients. And those are 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. You could probably do this in 2 additions. You could make it 3 if you wanted to, but I think you can get the job done in 2. After the dry ingredients are all mixed together, I'm going to add a scant cup, 1 scant cup of chocolate chips. There, looks just like a chocolate chip cookie. Now, the oven has been preheated to 375 degrees, and I've got cookie sheets that are lined with parchment paper. So I typically use one of these cookie scoops to make cookies with. I find that I get a more consistent size, but part of making this cookie is that you also, once it's on the cookie sheet, you want to press it down a little bit. So just using the scoop alone will make it more rounded. And so I just add the extra step of going through and pressing it down. So I'm only putting about 9 cookies on each sheet. So it's 3 across and 3 down. So here's 1 tray of cookies being prepared for the oven. And I'm just going to go ahead and go through each one and just press it down a little bit with the back of my scoop. So there's truth in advertising here. I switched to the back of a spoon and it actually works much better. And I did put a little bit of cooking spray on the back so that the batter wouldn't stick to the spoon. So these are ready to go in the oven. I'm going to prepare my next cookie sheet and we'll get them both in, and they will bake at 375 degrees for approximately 12 to 14 minutes. So here are the cookies. I did end up getting about 2 dozen from the recipe. So it differs every time I do it, but I think using the cookie scoop really helps you get a more uniform size. But look how pretty they are. They're just thin and delicate and so crispy. You can hear the tap, and just a great way to remember a wonderful lady. So I hope you enjoy them. If you haven't had them in a while, give them a try. So easy to make with just the fork in the bowl, and you'll be reminiscent of Aunt Marilyn's chocolate chip cookies. So let's have a little cookie toast to Aunt Marilyn. Thanks for watching. Remember, the fork is always on the left.